It's Wednesday's MUTV group chat. I hope you're in good form, having a bit of a breather after the drama of the 5 weeks or so of Project Restart. United back in action a week today when they face the Austrian side Lask in the Europa League, and United's players have been given a sort of well-earned breather, a few days off. You may have seen some sort of sun-kissed pictures on social media, but we're not jealous about that. Although it does look as though Ben might have joined them on their getaways. Where are you with them in the Mediterranean or wherever, Ben? Where is this sun-kissed getaway?
I'm not. I'm in sunny Essex. It's getting nicer, but you guys will have it as well. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, he's got this sort of suspicious weather system where it's always perfect where he is. Maisie, it is suspicious, isn't it? Every time.
We'll all be outside on Friday.
Right. Okay.
Is that guaranteed?
Right. Guaranteed.
Yeah. All right. What about Pally?
Even Middlesbrough will get a bit.
Middlesbrough's beautiful.
Yeah, even though we're talking to Pally, even though I haven't introduced him yet, Gary Pallister is our guest today. Here we are going to. Sorry about that, but it won't surprise you to know that the weather in Middlesbrough is not quite the same. But we'll bring Pally in just one sec. First of all, I must just reflect on the show on Monday. Thanks for emails on that and your responses. This one from Deb, who says, thanks so much for a first-class show, and long may it continue. You five guys make up the best programme on TV. That's steady on, Deb. Best programme on TV. Love the opinions and the knowledge of not just our club, but football in general. It's fantastic. So informative. Some incredible laughs and guests too. Keep up the good work. That's a nice email from Deb. We appreciate that. And this one from Peter Dixon, a lifelong fan of 70U, says, great chat as always, but 2 points. You remember on the show on Monday, we spoke about the key to United's great run in the second half of the season. We spoke about Bruno, we spoke about Mason, where he says, significant that you never mentioned Paul. He's doing a great job spreading the ball around, letting Bruno do what he does and providing cover for Nemanja, giving him the opportunity to participate up front. He's also a big part of the engine that is being developed, and that shouldn't be overlooked. And no one mentioned that come January, we need another centre forward. Anthony has become the target man, but once Odion disappears, his position becomes a major exposure if he's injured. No disrespect to Marcus, but his creative side is an important part of the triple threat. And that's from Peter Dixon, who's actually out in Minnesota, so he'll watch us a bit later on. So thanks for that, Peter. I'm going to put that straight away to the boys, and that is a fair point, isn't it, Ben? That we didn't mention Paul at all in the show on Monday, but his return in Project Restart has been pretty much as important as anything as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it has. I think obviously one of the very few good things to come out of the break that we had is that we managed to get Marcus and Paul Pogba back into the team, and obviously they're going to be an integral part of it moving forward. Marcus was in sensational form before he did his injury. And obviously we hadn't really seen much of Paul at all in this season. So to have those two coming back at such a critical time is like having two new signings coming back into the squad and indeed into the team. And yeah, listen, we all know that Paul Pogba is a fantastic player. I actually think that there's still plenty more to come from him. But certainly having him there allows Bruno Fernandes that freedom to be able to drift into places where Paul can find him, and his long range and short range passing is superb as well. So yeah, he's just hopefully going to keep getting better. I think his head's been turned now. I think he realises that Manchester United is somewhere where he really does want to be. All the talk of him, maybe moving on to pastures new seemed to have completely disintegrated. And I'm glad to hear that, because then he can get fully focused on doing what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is building at Manchester United, and that's getting back to where we know Manchester United belong and should be.
Yeah, Maisie, do you think Paul has been sort of quietly effective, really? He's just been an important part of that midfield partnership with Matic and Bruno ahead of them. Well, that'd been spectacular. He's just done his job well.
Yeah. I mean, I think Ben covered everything there, because he went on for about 4 minutes there just chatting. But no, I think Ben's hit the nail on the head. He's come in. He has been out for a long time because of his injury, and it's great to see him back. I think everybody was excited to actually see Fernandes and Paul play together, to see if they could actually do that, and they've done that magnificently. And it's going to be an integral part of next season, them two staying together and playing well.
Yeah. The second point that he made there, Webbs, about the fact about getting in a new centre forward, because Ighalo obviously here until January, and there's a lot of focus on basically Anthony Martial being the number 9. Do you think that there needs to be somebody else in there as well?
I think so. I mean, even if the 6 months buys you the time to bring somebody else in, but you've obviously got to be looking at that position, because as you say, if Anthony Martial's out, then who do you play? You know, if we're competing on all fronts in 4 or 5 competitions, you're going to need extra bodies. They can't just keep playing the same team week in, week out. So yeah, competition needs to be there, and I'm sure they're looking for somebody in that position now, whether it's somebody to come in behind and nurture, or somebody who will challenge for that position every week.
Yeah, where's those 2 points? Do you think we're going to need another number 9, so to speak? And also a quick word on Pogba from you.
Yeah, we will do, because like the lads have said, if he was to get injured, I mean, we wouldn't have any backup. But I think Ollie will know that, he'll understand that. Obviously, we can put Rashford there as well, but then we would have to change a little bit how we play. But yeah, I mean, everyone will be looking at in that in the summer, and I'm sure, they try and get the person that they want in. But I think Pogba has been brilliant since he's come back. I think maybe Bruno's helped that situation as well, the way he stepped up his game a little bit. And I mean, it does look like Pogba wants to stay, wants to be there, and he's enjoying his football.
MUTV at manunited.co.uk if you want to get in touch with us at any point. Obviously, a lot of talk since the weekend of Harry Maguire's achievement of playing every minute of every game in the Premier League. And the last outfield player to do that for us was Gary Pallister in the 94-95 season, 25 years ago. So let's discuss Harry with Pally, who joins us now. Pally, good to see you, mate. Saw you a bit earlier on, but it's good to see you properly now. How are you, mate? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Good, mate.
Before we talk about Maguire specifically, just a quick view of how it finished in the end, with United coming in third.
Yeah, I've got to say, I wasn't feeling very comfortable on Sunday. The amount of times we failed when we've had games to get above Chelsea, to get into that Champions League slot, and we failed to deliver. I was just thinking whether that was going to bite one more time on Sunday, and it was a very edgy game, to be fair, wasn't it? But yeah, I mean, the ball through for Martial was fantastic for the penalty. We get that goal, it settles the nerves. And then I think we saw it out really well. I thought the lads at the back did fantastic to sort of close the game down. And we got over the line in the end. And, deservedly so, I think, because since lockdown and we come back, I think the boys, apart from maybe a little bit nervy the last 2 or 3 games plus the semi-final, but I thought before that, we were fantastic.
Yeah, because do you think realistically, third is probably the maximum we could have achieved in this season?
In this space of time since we come back, yeah. I mean, Leicester just folded, didn't they? Really, they looked as though they had it sort of signed, sealed, delivered. But yeah, I mean, when you're talking about United just finishing Champions League places, it doesn't always sit that nicely. You want us to be challenging for titles, but I think over this course of the season, I think we've seen Ole change as a manager. I think we've seen the dynamics of the team change. I think the hope from the fans is there again, which we probably haven't seen for many years. The style of football is what we want to see at Manchester United and want to see every week at Old Trafford. So at the moment, I think we're ticking all the boxes to be taking huge strides forward. But we've got another transfer window to come. There's talk about more targets. And if Ollie gets his targets, then who knows where it can take us.
So Harry Maguire, then, it is amazing. No outfield player has played every minute of the league season since you, 25 years ago. What do you make of Maguire's debut season?
Yeah, I think he's true. I think he's rightly got the captaincy, the armband. I think he's one of the talkers. I'm not saying he's not the kind of leader that Brian Robson, Steve Bruce, Roy Keane was. But I think he's got an assurance about him. I think the players respond to. And for his first season, I think he's been terrific. He's comfortable on the ball. I mean, he's great. I mean, you saw it on Sunday, getting his head to things when balls are just chucked into your box. He's there every time, dominant there. So yeah, I think he's exactly the kind of centre half Manchester United need.
And what do you think of the Maguire-Lindelof partnership? They've basically played, I think, all but 3 started all but
Lindelof
games together.
had a really good season as well. You know, I think after his first year, we've sort of looked at him thinking, has he got the physicality really for the Premiership? He's not as dominant as Harry, but I think he's complimented him, and he's, you know, I mean, he's got the hang of the Premier League now, the physicality of it, the pace of it, and I think he's went from strength to strength. But saying that, I still think we need another big, powerful, dominant centre half at the club.
So you think that's the key for the summer, do you?
I think it's one of the things you'd be looking at, yeah. You know, I mean, listen, if you kept Bailly fit and he got a run of games, then there's potential there. He's a little bit rash at times. But I think if Ole's looking at the squad, I think he's been talking, or everybody's been talking about another dominant centre half there. So I wouldn't be surprised whether, you know, if Ole wasn't looking in that direction.
Let's just throw that to the boys. What do you think of that? Do we need another centre back, a dominant centre back, if you like, Wes?
Yeah, I think like what Pally said. I think when Bailly's fit, I think he needs more games to obviously start to compete and mix it up with them to give Ole ideas, maybe to put him in. But obviously he's had a lot of injuries as well. But there's nothing better than having someone else there to compete with the two lads that are there now. You know, I just think it makes them play better. Obviously they've got a good partnership going, but it just puts a little bit of pressure on them, a friendly pressure to keep on doing well.
Maisie, would you like to see a more competition at centre back? We have got quite a lot of centre backs at the club, but what sort of future some of them have, we don't really know. I mean, would you like to see another option come in?
Yeah, I think we touched on it on Monday, didn't we? I think Ben mentioned about bringing another centre half in just for freshness. You know, as you touched there, Stu, is Phil Jones going to be around? Is Chris Smalling going to be around? Wes just touched on Eric there with his injuries. Rahul. So, you know, these are all questions that Ole's got to answer. He's got to look at his squad, see who he needs, see what he needs. And there will be goings, you know that. People are going to be leaving. One, to get them up the wage, but also to bring funds in as well so that we can actually go out there and compete and buy the likes of Sancho, who's now on the radar massively, or it seems to be, you know, listening to Sky. Those are the players that we need to come in to improve the team. And I also think another centre half would be good enough to get Harry and Victor, put pressure on them. You need pressure all around, Stuart, in all positions, you know, to make everybody know that their place isn't safe.
Yeah, Ben, I mean, I talked about the defence. I noticed yesterday that United kept 26 clean sheets in all competitions, which is the most in Europe's top 5 leagues of any club, which says that, you know, it's pretty solid. But do you still feel that we do need another defender or two?
Yeah, I think what the lads have said before is absolutely right. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think you always, and Pally and Maisie and Wes will say the same thing, that, you know, your foundation has got to be from your back four. That's where everything's got to start. If you're not conceding goals at the back, then Manchester United, with the players that they've got, are always liable to score goals. And they seem to have shored that up really well. I don't know what the other lads are thinking, but if it was me and we were talking about another centre half, I would go for somebody like Nathan Ake at Bournemouth, who obviously just been relegated. I think he's a player that can operate on that left side. He would give the defence balance if he were to come in. And we saw not a couple of games ago when we had both Brandon and Luke Shaw injured, that he could also, which is where he started his career, fill in at left back. I mean, it's unusual for somebody, well, for me to sort of jump in and say, yeah, I think, you know, we need him. But I just think that he would be a really good fit, and he would give the side balance. But there's no question that we need competition all over the park. And just because the defence have done really, really well, we still have to compete, you know, continue to evolve. And if that means bringing in another decent centre half to compete, then so be it. And I think he would be a decent fit.
So you're nodding there, Pally. You go with that?
Yeah, I like Ake. I think he looks the part. He looks a physically strong lad. He's got pace. He's not bad on the ball. I think did I see the other week that he was linked with City?
Yes.
I mean, obviously they're looking for another for a centre half. They've had problems at the back. If it comes to a bidding bid, then who knows? But it's somebody I look at, and every time I see him play for Bournemouth, I'm impressed by the kid. I don't know what age he is now, but for me, he looks the part.
What do you reckon, Webb? He's obviously going to leave Bournemouth, isn't he? Would he be a good sign?
Yeah, no, he's proven now for over a couple of years in the Premier League. Left Chelsea as a young lad as well, so he's had a good education. But I think the key to whoever we bring in has got to be better than what we have. There's no carrying numbers because we have a lot of numbers already. So they have to make sure the level is increased. And I think Aki's obviously, he's been dominant. He's been linked with big. I just think he'd be a good fit. He seems like he's got a good temperament. He's up to the fight, and you don't hear any noise about him off the field either. He seems like he's well-rounded. So I'm sure it'd be one of a couple that they'd be looking at.
I thought you would mention, Pally, that even though Harry Maguire has obviously played every minute, every game like you did 25 years ago, you actually played 42 games in a season as opposed to 38. I thought you might mention that just to say that you've still got the ledge, mate.
I mean, it was. Do you know it was something I didn't realise until years later. That I think it was a quiz question, and somebody asked me, and I was like, not a clue. And I think for a long time, I think it was myself, John Terry, and somebody else. I think there was 3 players who done the same thing. But I think they all played 38. So I've got the proper record, mate.
He did it twice as well, mate. He did it 93, 92, 93 as well.
Yeah.
So.
But again, there's something else I didn't know.
There you go. You did it twice.
Yeah. No wonder I've got a knackered back.
Well, that could be it. Yeah. So something we spoke about on Monday's show, Pally, as well. Is obviously there is a big points gap to the top 2, and I was just wondering. We've mentioned about possibly bringing in another defender, but what do you think needs to be done to close that gap realistically for next season?
I mean, listen, I like Sancho. I think he's looked the part. I mean, I'm not sure what's happening with him at Dortmund. They're talking about over 100 million euros for him.
Yeah.
After this pandemic and everything that's happened and clubs not having fans, I don't know whether that's feasible even for a club the size of Manchester United to pay that big. But I think it's in them areas, that imagination that we've had since we've come back from lockdown. We've not seen that for a long time. I think that's how you want to see Manchester United play. You want to see players with a threat like Konchesky or Giggs and people like that. I think Sancho's got a bit of that in him. And we want to bring that excitement back to back. That's what City have got. That's what Liverpool have got in abundance. They've got players who can make things happen in the top third of the pitch. And I think that's what we're lacking. I think a lot of it's been to do with the managers that we've had who've been too cautious. But I think Ole, from the moment he's walked in there, has talked about playing in Manchester United way. And I think we've seen that over the last few months. And if we continue that and bringing in players who can play with that imagination, then I think we'll go from strength to strength.
Yeah, Webb, so on Sancho, obviously he's been linked so often with United, but if let's say he came in and he played on that right side where Mason's playing, would that release Mason to sometimes play more central in a 9?
I think it'd give you the option to, yeah. I think what you're looking at nowadays, not many people stick to one position. Marcus can play across any of the front 3. Martial would play on the left or through the middle. Mason can do anywhere across the front 3. And Sancho would do right or left. So I think it gives you options to move things around at times and make sure that whoever comes in has that same level of quality, if not more. And that's probably, if you look at the back end of the season, what we needed. I think Mason was, he was phenomenal in his form, but when he was taken out and Dan James didn't quite hit the same rhythm as him, and you need those kind of players. So City, when they signed Mahrez, everybody was saying, why is he, why he's not going to play? Why has he gone to City? But you do get your fair share of games if you're competing in all competitions, and we want to be doing that.
Yeah, Ben, would you think Mason will be a 9 more often in the future rather than a kind of inside right?
Well, like Danny's just said, it's hard to tell really, because they're all so comfortable at being able to manoeuvre themselves anywhere across that forward line. And I mean, he pretty much covered it there, that even though we are talking about our rivals from across the city, they've got quality and depth, and they're always going to get their fair share of games. And I think when we're talking about improving Manchester United squad, these are the problems that come with having such good players, and at times that you will have to leave out. But I think that Mason, without question, it would be just as comfortable playing as an out-and-out centre forward as he would be coming off either flank. I mean, he's performed phenomenally well. He loves the little step over, the coming in with his left foot. He can bend it in the far corner. He can cut it back and go near post. Quite a lot of the goals we've seen him score, bamboozling defenders by putting it through the legs and him doing that. So I think that any of those players that we're mentioning are comfortable in any of those positions across the front three, and that's what makes them so fluid and so exceptional.
Mason, what a season he's had. You might have noticed today as well, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer joined United on this day in 1996, 24 years ago. Obviously, I wanted just to mention that to you guys, because obviously Maisie, Pally, and Ben, you were there. This kid who you probably hadn't heard of, this young lad, incredibly young lad, pitched up at the cliff. Do you remember seeing him and thinking, who's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he walked into the dressing room. I remember him walking into the dressing room and I thought, he looked about 16. And I honestly thought he was coming to join the youth team, the reserves or something like that. And it wasn't until you saw him in that first, I remember that first training session, and the ball hit and he hit the target, and you thought, fair play. And then he hit the target again, and hit the target again, and then all of a sudden you just start looking at him thinking, wow, this kid's got something different. You know what I mean? And it's a little bit like Mason now. You know, I think you look at Mason's all-round game. I mean, his finishing is already right out of the top drawer. I mean, it's unbelievable at times to think he's 18 years of age. He's still got work to do on the rest of his game, I think, and that'll come with it, with the physicality and the experience as well. But very much alike with Ole. I mean, it was just amazing to see how often he hit the target. Didn't always score, but made the goalkeeper work, and it made you sit up and take notice of Ole at that time. But you're right what you say. I thought he was coming to spend 1 or 2 years in the reserves, and then see where that took him. More or less straight away, he was in the first team squad.
Maisie, you remember that?
Pretty much what Pally just said there. Just a young whippersnapper coming into the first team dressing room, not knowing, because he came in with Ronnie. Came in with Hobbs as well, and Yardi, I think, as well. So yeah, out of the four, he was like the babyface assassin as he's become to be known. And it's ironic that 25 years later, another young kid has stepped up to the mark now with Mason, and they are the double of each other. They're very, very. Pally will remember it. The amount of goals Ollie would score through your legs, and you'd curse him, you'd shout at him, you'd lucky this, lucky that. But it's a gift, and Mason's got exactly that. And Ollie used to do it day in, day out in training, and Wesel knows well. Used to pee you right off because you think you've got it covered, and he just puts it through your legs. But that's what good goal scorers do, and he's probably got the best manager to actually teach him, coach him, nurture him into a better player than what he is now. And in 3 or 4 years' time, wow, frightening.
Did that used to upset you, Pally? Through the legs?
Yeah, not as much as it upset Schmeichel. He did used to get a tad annoyed in shooting practice. You didn't want to be around him when that happened, when the volcano burst. But yeah, I mean, as Maisie said there, he's got the ideal tutor in Ollie to talk about the pressures of Manchester United, being a goal scorer for Manchester United. It's something Ollie worked on as well. It wasn't just his finishing. He became stronger. He understood the Premier League. He became a better player. I mean, that season, I think he played on the right-hand side, didn't he, for a whole year, more or less, and adapted his game to that and did really well as a right winger. Who knows where Mason's going to end up? I mean, looking at him at the moment, he loves to come in off that right-hand side. And, the problem for defenders is that they don't know what's his stronger foot. He hits balls with both left and right with such ferocity. The keeper's, a second guessing all the time what he's going to do. So it's difficult for defenders, it's difficult for goalkeepers. And, you know, he seems a real level-headed kid as well, does Mason. So we've got a star in the making, but we've seen players of this ilk before sort of come through at a young age, and you think, wow. I mean, I think he is a little bit different, but, you know, you want to see him stay grounded. You want to see him willing to learn and progress, and how we all hope he progresses.
Ben or Wes, do you remember Ollie turning up? I know you were a real young lad then, Ben, Wes, but Ben, did you remember Ollie pitching up?
I remember them. I remember them both coming through the door. Same, you know, the same sort of reaction as the two lads. That there wasn't anybody, either of them really, for me anyway, that I'd ever heard of. But I think that what that did was that highlighted just how good Sir Alex Ferguson was at not only bringing in players that people that knew about and that had reputations, but also that he knew could develop at Manchester United, and the amount of goals that Ole Gunnar scored, when you think of his goals to games ratio, because he obviously was a lot of the time came off the bench and scored great goals. One of them, and I was in the squad at the time, was when he brought him on and he scored 4 against Nottingham Forest in about 20 minutes. He was just so explosive, and as the lads have already pointed out, the number of times that he would let fly, and he was always trying to aim for the goalkeeper's legs, because he could hit the ball with such power that they just didn't have time to move. They were so close to the body, and very often goalkeepers would get done by Ollie through his legs. And he was a great character to have in the dressing room. Lovely lad. And now obviously he's developing that sort of meanness to him that comes with the territory and being a Manchester United manager, that he's going to have to make difficult decisions in the future. But hopefully that's going to be for the benefit of the whole team. But what an absolutely superb striker. Brilliant.
Listen, we're just about done. Pally, thanks for joining us this morning, mate. Really do appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Hope to see you again, mate. MUTV@manunited.co.uk if you want to get in touch with us. We'll be back on Friday this week, and fingers crossed, by popular demand, and if it's technologically possible, Paddy is going to join us on the show. So that's something to look forward to, I think, for Friday. So if we'll get a question into Paddy, actually, because if it is possible, we're going to need Sully to go down there and hold the iPad, and anyway, we'll see what we can do. MUTV@manunited.co.uk. So thanks for watching. We'll see you Friday. See you, lads. Take care. See you Friday.
See you later, Paddy.